So we live together.
Yep.
We watch football together.
Yep.
We talk about football together.
Yep.
Why don't we just start a podcast?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Eye Test. It's myself, Lyés, and my boy, CultureCams. Champions League final week.
Yes.
Big one. Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. And it's also the last season we're ever going to have this Champions League in the current format. Now, not too much is going to change from like the group stage onwards. It's still going to be round of 16, quarterfinal, blah, blah, blah. The way the group stage is set up next year, it's almost like one big table and like there's going to be more teams in it. It's going to be interesting. But to kind of commemorate that, as well as it, of course, being Champions League final week, I thought we kind of like go back, blast in the past and revisit some like the best Champions League moments or like the greatest moments we can remember from those Champions League final moments. But before we do, how are you, bro?
All good, man.
The euphoria of the weekend still hasn't buzzed
off.
off.
It's still there. Still high off it, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to ride it into the sunset at least, you know what I mean? Until at least until the Euros starts, let's say. I'm going to be high off that. But yeah, man, it's been good. Good result there. And just in general, man, you know, when the season starts coming to the closing period, very, very busy. Yeah. Very busy period. But listen, we can't complain with this life, can we?
Not at all. Let's talk about Champions League. Yes. Obviously, this year, it's Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. But I thought I'd ask you, just off the top of your head, what's your favorite Champions League moment ever? Like the one that, without even really thinking about it much, like that one that just always comes to mind when you think Champions League moments.
Wow. I feel like when it comes to favorite, it'll have to be something that I was emotionally connected to. And I'm not going to pin it on the John Terry slip. I won't say the slip. I mean, that was, oh my goodness. The way I reacted to that was crazy. But do you know what I would say? I'd probably say the Ronaldo header. Going 1-0 up in the final, bro, that was my first ever Champions League final that I've been watched, you know? I didn't watch 99.
Oh, that was a United fan. Okay, I was gonna say,
as a United fan. As a United fan, that was my first ever Champions League final. And just when we went 1-0 up, Cristiano as well, like obviously I was in love with Ronaldo them times. So for it to just go in and just the celebration in the rain, it was just so good because there was, you know, people may not know, but there was a lot of question marks about Ronaldo in big games. Yeah, I don't think people know that. Like, I don't know if you were there at the time.
I remember the narrative.
Ronaldo used to have big game allegations on him.
That was his only goal against Chelsea in his first stint. He never scored in the Prem, never in the Cup.
Exactly. Yeah. So for it to happen, it was just so nice. But then I have to fast forward in that game to the Van der Sar save on a Nelka. I ain't gonna lie, when I saw Nelka, I knew he was gonna miss.
Really?
I just knew it. When he slipped, the way I celebrated the John Terry slip, it's like it was inevitable that we're gonna win. But Nelka never looked up for it. Even the commentator said,
he's like, oh, he doesn't look great. Yeah.
But the Van der Sar save, that just the emotions that poured out, was so different.
That
all
game
English
too,
as well.
It went to midnight, no? For you guys. Because I remember for me when I was watching it, this is like when I was really young, to be honest with you. And this is where honestly, like I would just watch my dad is watching. Yeah. So it went late for us, for me, especially my bedtime or whatever. But I know, like looking back on it now, for you guys, it must have. We won the champion. We played the Champions League on one day, and the next day we won it.
We literally, it's because the game kicked off, I think 7:30 or something, or 8.
It must have been later,
like 7:30,
bro. Yeah.
And then you think about it went to extra time and it went to penalties, so it went way into it. When by the time the teams had been celebrating, it was literally nighttime. Do you know what I mean? So these times we couldn't call our friends on the house phone and stuff. So I was just up. Waiting. I was like, when I get to school, it's peak. And the first thing I did, I bought a newspaper, right? I mean, young, you know, bought a newspaper, ran into school like this. And I remember there's one particular guy, one of my friends called Dennis, right? He, as soon as he saw me, he just started running, I'm chasing him through the school.
Chelsea fan.
All the way. I chased him all the way into the boys' bathroom, and he's locked the door and I'm banging. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, what a time,
that Champions League final, though, because you know what it is about when we talk about finals in general, right? It's not always the best game in terms of quality. No. Most teams, they both enter it kind of
chess match, bro.
So it's very like chess match-esque. No one wants to make the first mistake. Both teams are pragmatic, and it's often why we see a lot of 1-0 scorelines. And I think the stat is the last 4 Champions League finals, if I remember correctly, they've all been decided by 1-0. 1920 it was Bayern PSG. 2021 it was Chelsea, City. 21-22 was Liverpool, Real Madrid. Last year Inter, City. They were all 1-0 wins,
1-0.
and they were cagey 1-0 wins. But that final, when you kind of look at it, it's one of the best quality finals I can actually remember in terms of both teams were at it. Both teams, like Man United played an amazing first half. Chelsea played an amazing second half.
Yeah.
The extra time was cagey. The penalty shootouts. In terms of actual quality, it's one of the better finals that we've actually gone and watched.
I think so. I think so. And I look at like each individual performance on there, right? On even the subs that came on, each individual performance, I feel like everyone can walk away from that day and say, okay, I did my job. I did well. I really did well for both teams, by the way. I remember in the first half, and I was just looking like Scholes and Carragher running the game. And in the second half, Ballack and Lampard just got a whole grips on that game. Do you know what I mean? And look, Man United, because we could probably say we probably left the little bit more fortunate ones, because you think about Drogba hitting the post twice, I believe it. No, Lampard hit the post and Drogba hit the post.
I remember the one that just like it bounced straight down.
Yeah, Drogba hit the post, I think twice. Hit the post twice.
Lampard was the one where he like received it and then turned and like he like his shot was him turning. And it just came down off the post.
Okay, Lampard and Drogba hit the post, right?
I think Drogba was probably the one guy who probably like had something after the game, like thinking,
for sure,
with regrets. Obviously the red card, but
for sure. And Vidic did have him in that
and
game.
Rio both
I
did
believe
their thing, bro.
Had them in that game, but I do think it was just such high quality. Everyone could just feel good at the performance, and for it to come down to penalties, it was kind of fitting for it to come down to penalties, because you couldn't really separate those two in that game. And you know, Michael Essien, you think about, he started very tough. Ronaldo was all over him in the beginning. All over him, scored on him as well. But then he grew into the game as well. So I think it was just a great final, and it's definitely one of my, obviously, biased reasons, but it's definitely one of my main Champions League memories if you're talking about a final. What about you?
100%. I mean,
non us.
You know what? Before we go to the next final, I always think about this sometimes, right? Obviously, Ronaldo missed the penalty in that game. And first of all, I love the commentary. It's like, maybe the best player in the world versus maybe the best goalkeeper. But to be fair, that's how it felt with Chelsea and United at the time. Like when I look at football those times, I think that's one of the moments where you could say the Premier League was really on top of world football. You had at times 3 Champions League semi-finalists were all English teams, whether it was United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal. And at that point, I could genuinely say, even though Avram Grant was coaching Chelsea, but it felt like they were self-coached at times, those were really the 2 best teams on the planet at that moment. And you can't always say that about Champions League finals. You don't always get the 2 best teams, but they really felt like it. But I just think about that moment right there where Ronaldo misses that penalty to check, and even before Terry is taking his penalty, like Ronaldo is like on the ground in tears. Obviously, Ronaldo had like an all-time great season, 42 goals in all competitions. How would we have remembered that season though if he missed the penalty that caused Man United to lose the Champions League?
Oh, you know what they say, like domino effects or ripple effect, like what James says, like, bro, you don't know how I know I'm not trying to say this, but you just don't know how his career would have panned out after that.
That's true.
You just really don't know. You don't know how 2009 would have went. You don't know if that would have been the moment when he just said, no, I need to leave. Yeah. I'm forcing my way out.
I look at Baggio in 94, whatever the penalty that he missed. He was the hero of Italy. Like, that penalty completely changed his reputation amongst Italians. Like, in fact, probably his career, I would say, from that point on, was never the same.
It's massive moments. These are the moments that whole world are watching, and that's why the games are cagey. They're the biggest game with the whole world watching. Look, right now we're in London, they're throwing 4-day parades for the Champions League final, and not even English teams in the final. So that just shows how big it is, you know, when the Champions League comes around. So we honestly, if Ronaldo had missed that penalty, we don't know how his career would have went. As I was saying, he might have, because there was rumors that he might leave that summer. So he might have just said, I'm out. All right, you know, I'm going. We don't know. He stayed till 08-09. We went to final again. It's interesting, man. I love little what ifs like that, but I'm glad that what if didn't come true. You know, I'm happy he missed, but I'm happy we end up winning the game. But you just really don't know, man. And you think about the legacy of John Terry. How would we be speaking about John Terry if he scored? Do you know what I mean? If he scored and he won his first Champions League that way, we're laughing at full kit merchant in that. But if he won it legitimately like that, I think he was the defender of the year then. Would he now start being in conversation? Like, I think he already is, but people could be putting him all time, the great. You just don't know what could have happened in them moments, man. When would our next Champions League ever come? Because we know what was going on in Catalonia while we would
a beast was brewing.
Something was cooking over there. Do you know what I mean? So What if, man?
Yeah.
What if?
Well, I think like one of the coolest stories from that was really the Drogba storyline from that. Obviously, the reason John Terry even took that fifth penalty was because Didier Drogba wasn't on the pitch to take it. He lost his cool. Vidic locked him up. That Vidic header off that corner, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All over him.
Oh, my days,
My man's legs were like by Drogba's head.
Vidic ate that header, bro.
Yeah.
But Drogba lost his cool. He gets sent off. He doesn't even get to take that fifth penalty. And Chelsea missed what seemed like at the time their best chance to win the Champions League because that was their team at their prime. Obviously, the next year too, they were unlucky not to go to the final as well. But that group, that was the best that you were getting from that Chelsea team. But then you fast forward, 4 years down the line, and it seems like all these guys are on their last legs, right? Terry, Lampard, Drogba, Villas-Boas is the coach. He gets fired. Di Matteo comes in, and all of a sudden they go on this run. This last dance, if you want to call it that. They knock Napoli out, which, by the way, people forget about that Napoli tie.
That was big.
That was a great tie because Napoli hit them with some punches. And it's ironic that the three guys to bail them out of trouble that day were Drogba, Lampard, and
it was
Terry.
Ivanovic, no?
Ivanovic scored the winner, but they scored the first three.
Yes.
All guys that he had basically tried getting out the door. Benfica, they get rid of them.
Yeah.
Barcelona, that team at that point, the fear factor that Barcelona team had, not just on Chelsea, on world football, they seemed unbeatable. They rocked up to the Camp Nou and got a result there. And then the final, I just think it's
red card though.
And all along the way, all along the way, Drogba is kind of like just bailing them out. He didn't have a great season, but in the Champions League, those moments, that's what we look at Drogba's legacy now, those big moments. In the Champions League final in Munich against Bayern Munich, the header, but then the penalty for me, which is so fitting. He wasn't on the pitch 4 years ago against United to take that fifth penalty. This time he is. And he makes no mistake.
You got to remember as well, let's not even forget about Czech's penalty save against Iron Robben. I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but every one of their old guard had a part to play.
Yeah, of course.
And it was a special moment. And the thing is, like, if you're talking about favorite Champions League moments, maybe not favorites, but the ones that stick in my head as well, it's the Drogba, that Drogba header, man. Drogba!
Can I just say, by the way, he has the greatest name for a commentator to say ever.
Come on, because you could just stretch the end. You could just stretch the end, innit?
Do you hear how I said it for Metro, bro? Drogba! Alright, Drogba's got one of those goated commentary names. Bro. Him, Rooney, Aguero, those ones that have like the vowel at the end. Yeah,
stretch it all the way. But like, Didier Drogba, that moment was like heroic. And look, obviously, people, we didn't get to watch 99, so we're not going to really mention 99. But that moment was just so iconic, man. Like, and the thing is, there's so much detail that goes into that, right? Torres wins the corner, of course. Mata takes that free corner pretty quick, like just steadily, quickly. He's rushing it. I saw that wasn't really a great delivery by Mata either.
Drogba,
it wasn't a great delivery. And then there's a fine detail that people always miss, right? Drogba's running to him, which is funny because I don't know if you've seen, John Terry actually has the play that they drew up from corners, and it's signed by Drogba, it's signed by Di Matteo, it's signed by, I think, Juan Mata. They actually planned to do near post corners, Drogba near post header. That was their plan. Like, he has what Di Matteo wrote and he framed it. So credit to them, their game plan worked. But there's a small detail that people miss in that, is the slight push that Jerome Boateng gives to Drogba. I promise you that gave him the power. That gave him the power. That push gave him the power for the neck muscles. I swear to you, it's like it was an extra, like Drogba, we know what he can do, but it was an extra oomph. And it just generated, oh man,
I don't think people really deep how insane of a header that is.
He had to like
bro.
Whoa,
and it's not even like he flicked it on. Bro, he flicked it near post. And Neuer got a hand on it. And it was so powerful that Neuer's hand,
was the push.
Bro.
It was the push.
That header is so crazy. Like, we talk about the moment and what it meant. But the actual technique of the header is ridiculous.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
That one is just up there. Listen, I know we're talking about a lot of English ones.
But you know what, right? I have no shame in saying this, right? Obviously, in Europe, I always cheer against the English teams, and no matter who it is. But that final, I can't lie, there was a part of me that wanted Chelsea to win.
Bro, like, I ran out my house.
All right, you see, that's crazy.
Bro,
what do you mean you ran out your
house? I was watching it with a Chelsea fan.
I don't think you ran out your house when United won the FA Cup.
Bro, you know what? Them days, I still do in a way. I've just never no hate to them. I've been to their ground. They held me really well. They looked after me.
They wine and dined you.
But I've just never really had any sort of love for Bayern.
Okay. Oh,
So
yeah.
if it was like one, I'll be honest. Up until I joined Twitter, I used to support English teams in the Champions League.
Oh,
I'm
that's
different to you.
nasty.
I
That's
used to be
nasty.
like Andy Townsend.
Come
on!
The way Andy Townsend celebrates
Yeah,
British
yeah.
teams,
It's mad.
come on!
Get in!
It kills me, bro.
I genuinely, I don't know what it is, but I used to just support English teams in Champions League.
Yeah.
It's only until I started meeting the mass amount of fans of each fan base, like I stopped supporting them in the Champions League, like because you don't want to see this rival fan who talks rubbish on Twitter, celebrating stuff. But genuinely, so I was absolutely buzzing for Chelsea. And my brother's a Chelsea fan. My best friend was a Chelsea fan as well.
man,
I was watching it with him. It was just good, and especially, I guess I said it was Bayern. I just never really had anything. If it was Real Madrid, I would have been like, ooh. If it was what other teams are there
Milan
in Europe?
or
Milan, Inter. I would be like, ooh. But Bayern, I just never. I liked Michael Ballack back in the day, but I never really had anything for Bayern Munich. You know what I mean? So,
I hear it.
like, honestly, I used to support them in Champions League. So when the English team, when that happened, I was buzzing. And listen, it's not just Chelsea, because people are gonna say, "Oh, you're undercover blue." When Fabregas scored against Milan away, I was like, "Get in!" You know what I mean? When Liverpool beat Real Madrid, Steven Gerrard, the game, and John, I was happy for these
You
guys.
know what
I
I
don't
think
know what
with
it was.
Andy Townsend, though? I think it's a German thing, bro. I can't lie.
No, it's not.
Because, bro, Aguero against Bayern, Drogba. I think it's just like you got to think for the Brits versus the Germans, bro. Because the way he goes crazy when English teams score, I've never seen anything like it, bro.
It's so funny.
Get in!
It's actually so funny. But you said you always rooted against them. But I don't know why.
Bro.
I just root. Obviously, not if we're playing against them.
Yeah.
And only to a certain moment. Like once Arsenal and Liverpool started against the semis and stuff, then I was like kind of not. But yeah, man, it's just always been a thing. But we can't talk about Champions League final moments and English teams without Istanbul.
See, me personally, I'm gonna let you have the stage here because I'm honest when I started watching football. This is the final before I started watching. So you paint the picture.
So listen to this, right? So I went to my uncle's house. I remember I was with my uncle, and his sons, they're like Liverpool fans, and one's like a Man United fan. But it was just like, families just have mixture. So we're just watching the game. All right, I see 1-0. We're like, cool. We see Crespo do his thing, whatever. That finished, by the way, and passed by Kaka.
The little chip of the outside of his foot, though, is nuts.
That is disgusting, right? So they go 3-0 up, right? Everyone stops watching. Because this uncle and this cousin, they were one of these in my family. They had every single game console ever. They had Xbox, GameCube, PS1 or PS2, whatever it was. It's everyone. So everyone just went off and started playing. Like a lot of people over, everyone started playing. Promise you, I was the only one that stayed. Yeah, I was like, let me just continue watching it. I went into this box. I went into a box room.
Hold on, I need someone to fact check this, bro. This is a little too convenient, bro. I was the only one. I get something was in the air that day. Bro, get out of here, man.
I said, wait a second. No, honestly. So these guys went off and played, and then I remember I went to this box room. They had a box room, literally, just one bed and thing. I'm just watching. Remember, ITV these days, you can watch it on cable.
ITV.
I'm just watching it.
Wow.
Steven Gerrard scores. I run out like, Gerrard scored. These guys don't even care.
What was
Gerrard,
it, Ian Dark? Not the Ian Dark, the Clive Tildesley commentary?
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Gerrard's doing this. But listen, let's be honest. I didn't think Liverpool were going to come back.
Yeah.
Then I believe it was Smitzer. Smitzer scored. Gets a 3-2. And you're like, ooh. Now everyone starts watching again.
Get a little shaky.
Bro, everyone starts watching again. And then the penalty, Gerrard.
He dived, by the way. He dived crazy.
He dived for the penalty, yeah. But then he gets that penalty. Xabi Alonso takes it. People forget Xabi Alonso missed.
He never took a penalty before that.
No.
Nah.
I still wonder why Steven Gerrard didn't take that penalty, but we won't talk about that. You know what I mean? Xabi Alonso takes the penalty, misses, and then scores the rebound. And now it's 3-3. And then from there, you're just like, anything can happen. But even then, people, again, I don't forget, Milan still had chances.
Shevchenko had the biggest chance of his life.
They still should have went on and won that game, but it didn't. Something was in the air, and I remember the commentary as well. They kept saying something's going, like not something's going on, but this might be Liverpool's time. And you're watching Gerrard dragging himself, not cramp, but like limping.
He
Carragher.
played like 3 positions.
By
that
the
day,
way, that's the
Gerrard.
performance of Carragher's career.
Yeah.
If it, like we banter Carragher's career, I don't know how many people have that Champions League final resume performance like Carragher.
Liverpool players played like the second half of their lives, bro.
Like honestly, that was a all-time performance
Didi
from
Hammond
him.
coming on at
Hammond.
half. Bro, these guys played the performance of their lives.
So one thing that as well before we move on is the decima Hammond substitution. Him coming on for Steve Finnan, letting Gerrard go to the right wing, but it was kind of just right back, right wing back, right wing, right forward, whatever it was. You just right.
He was the wing fielder that day.
Yeah,
bro.
literally. He was just right that day, yeah. That just gave them a little bit of solidity because Kaká was running riot. These guys were enjoying themselves in that final. And that just gave them a little bit of solidity and that platform to go on and for other players to go and attack. And Gerrard became free as well. And it also confused AC Milan a little bit because they were expecting Steven Gerrard probably to play in the centre of midfield at that point. So I just think that substitution was game changing. If you're talking about in-game management, sniffing understanding the moment, Rafa Benitez deserves big props for that. But let's go back to the final, back to the last moments, the Jersey Dudek whole thing that he was going on. Listen, I ain't saying he's as influential as Cristiano Ronaldo, but if you didn't go to school and let someone take a penalty and start doing
Are you saying that was the equivalent of the free
bro,
kicks?
Yes. If you didn't go to school and start doing this, you didn't have a lit childhood, man. Honestly, Jersey Dudek doing this was iconic, and man, honestly, like, it's not my favorite moment, but what an absolute Champions League moment like that. That's got to be up there in the top 3, top 5.
I mean, let's be real,
all-time
right?
Champions League
Gerrard
finals.
is a Liverpool legend in general, right? Like the West Ham final, the Olympiacos. I get all of that. But that moment is what solidified his legacy, in my opinion, as like a great of the game.
Yeah, that's his career-defining moment.
100%. Like that game, that's his game. That's the game that when we think of Steven, at least for me, some people might think of the FA Cup final. I think of that's the game that I think of Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
Like literally willing to play anywhere on the pitch, literally willing to die on the pitch for Liverpool to win that.
There's so many, obviously the Zidane moment and stuff like that was unreal.
That's
I didn't
eternal.
get to catch
That's
too
eternal.
much of that, you know. What would I say? Obviously, in a sorrow kind of way, the 2011 final, Barcelona. I mean, if you're talking about best actual performance of a Champions League final, I think that's got to be the best performance in a Champions League final ever, I think, in terms of just the way they dominated, the football they played. It felt like a match day 13 game. You know, when we talk about, Champions League finals, we just started with they're KG, they're this. Barcelona didn't play like it's KG. Like they played like they're playing Valencia on match day 13 at home. You know what I mean? It was just pure dominance. And the thing is, you're talking about my favorite Champions League moments. I think I celebrated Rooney's equalizer more than I celebrated Ronaldo's.
Can I tell you this?
Yeah.
That's the only time in my life. No, sorry, it was the first time in my life I ever swore in front of my dad. When Rooney scored. When Rooney scored, I was like, "Fuck yes, bro!" Because you know what it is, right?
It was like an out-of-body experience.
None of us going into that final actually believed we could do anything.
No.
And you know what? That's actually the only time I would probably say in my life that I haven't been upset after United lost. Just because I kind of came out of it saying,
Yeah, same.
it was humbling. It was like, like this. It was every game under Sir Alex. I went in thinking we could win, except for that game.
Yeah. And
when I came out of it, I was like, we just lost to a much better team.
Yeah, you got to look at the lineup that we had out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 36-year-old Giggs in midfield with.
By the way, he played. He balled that Champions League
Bro,
campaign
Ryan Giggs is timeless.
against Schalke. Oh my!
Ryan
days.
Giggs is timeless. He's still got the assist as
Yeah.
well, but Giggs in midfield. We had Park, I believe it was.
Yeah.
We had Hernandez. Like,
Yeah.
It was a very meaty team.
You know who played right back for us that day?
Who was
Fabio.
it? Fabio.
Fabio played right back. Not even Raphael. Fabio played right back.
This is what I mean. Like Ferguson deserves a lot of props for even getting there, right? But Barcelona, like, listen, they sensed the mismatch. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you got to still go out and do it. And what Messi and Iniesta and Xavi and Busquets, Dani Alves, what they were doing out there, do you know what I mean? It was criminal, bro. It should have been illegal. And I've actually I've done a whole breakdown of that Champions League final with Rio, right? We done the 5 formations about it. And he just says, listen, there's never been a moment where I just felt like Like, I don't even feel like I'm a footballer.
Well,
Like,
Vidic-
I don't feel like a pro.
Vidic spoke about it. Vidic
Yeah.
said there was a one point where him and Rio just looked at each other and they're like, I can't wait for this game to end.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot wait to just go back inside
Yeah.
and just hide.
It's
Like,
humbling. It's
humbling,
It's
bro.
humbling, man. Like, it's humbling, and we're talking about arguably the greatest team ever, and this is the type of effect they will have on you. You know what I mean? We're talking about the greatest player ever. Talking about probably the two greatest midfielders ever, if you want
Talking
to,
about
whatever.
one of
The greatest
coaches
coach ever.
Yeah.
Everything just in their peak, in their pinnacle. This is what it should look like. When you're talking about, oh, this guy, this is what a peak of peaks should look like. This is Jordan in 98 or whatever, Jordan 93, 94.
Yeah.
This is Messi in 2011.
Yeah, that's the 98 Bulls, bro.
Yeah, 98 Bulls. This is Messi in 11. Like this is what it is, bro. This is Usain Bolt in 08. This is what it is. So realistically, Man United had no chance there. And as I said, that it was felt like an out of body experience when Rooney scored. I was like, couldn't believe it. The only disappointment I have walking away from that final is I think Van der Sar should have saved Messi's shot.
I think he should have saved all three. I think Van der Sar realistically could have saved every one of those shots.
Pedro's was tough. That was a good finish. He sent him. He gave him the body.
But bro, he didn't like place it
Yeah,
that
but he
crazy.
gave him the, like,
if he went the other way, he would have saved
he
it.
gave him the...
Van der Sar went to ground. I genuinely think, I'm not saying he should have saved all three of them. Van der Sar could have saved all three of them. Like, I think Van der Sar at his best would have saved all three of them, bro. None of those three, we should have lost. I'm not saying like, oh, we got raw. Van der Sar cost us. We should have lost. We got schooled. Van der Sar could have saved all three of those goals, bro. Even the Villa one, bro. It wasn't like he placed it in the corner like that, bro. Van der Sar could have saved all three.
Maybe the age started getting to Van der Sar.
I think so. I think so. Yeah, the Messi one, definitely. Near posts like that was disappointing.
Do you think he could have saved Eto's in 09?
Nah, just
was
because that was
was
low
that
and hard.
genius by
Yeah, I think
Eto'o?
Vidic, to be
The
honest, should have
toe
done better on that. Yeah, I think Vidic, the way
cut him in, innit?
he
Yeah.
cut him in too easy. But I think the final, it was his last game, in fact, for United ever. I think he could have done better on all three.
Yeah. That's that Messi one. I'm like, Van der Sar, you used to eat those up,
Bro,
man.
that's
Like,
what I'm saying.
and
But
people
not
like,
even
he hit it hard.
even the Villa one. I'm telling you, he didn't hit it with that much power. He didn't. It wasn't like so far into the corner that he could have stopped it. Like, that's the only regret.
Yeah.
But the Rooney goal, I always say this, right? Speaking on Clive Tildsey, we talk about Drogba, how he said his name. The way Clive Tildsey said Wayne Rooney's name, he made a career off saying Wayne Rooney. Yeah, it's like the growl that he would let. Oh my days. For like, because I think we went into halftime 1-1. For about 25 to 30 minutes of that game, I was like, wow, we're here. We can do something. And then Messi just...
I just thought it was going to be one of them ultimate Sir Alex moments. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to dig deep through the mud and do it. But by the way, what a goal by Rooney as well, bro. Like the throw in, the knockdown, the Giggs little touch, the little 1-2.
The most mercurial moment yet. No, the best moment yet in the mercurial career of Wayne Rooney. Oh,
Wow,
man.
man.
And you know what it was
Wow.
too? The 2 years before, I actually thought we could have done something out of that. In fact, the first 10 minutes, for me, we were the better team.
They made that game so boring, though, Barcelona, after a while.
No, once
09.
there was a tactical change, I think, that Pep made, where I think he moved Messi central, Eto'o on the right, and then Iniesta took more of an advanced position, and all of a sudden we couldn't get near them. The minute Iniesta got his foot on the ball in that 09 final,
yeah,
it was
that was pure
Humbling.
pure dominance. I want to say there's another Champions League final that we can't talk about Champions Leagues, and we've said all these teams, and we haven't mentioned the big dogs of this competition,
Of course.
and that is Real Madrid. Now we can go through Zidane volley, left foot. I still think that's the greatest Champions League goal of all time.
Yeah.
I know that people.
When I think of the Champions League, I think of that goal.
Yeah, people think, because remember it was the Champions League advert. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember the Champions League advert?
The thing before the game where it's of course.
With the betting Heineken and whatever, and then it just Zidane's volley. Yeah, that was. I think that was ITV, innit? I think.
No, but we had it.
It was legendary anyway. So that is the moment of Champions League for me. Best goal ever, technique wise. Listen, go about that all day. Some people might think it's the Gareth Bale. You know what I mean? The overhead kick, which is great, but I still think aesthetically that one wasn't that hitting. Like Ronaldo's against Juve was a bit more aesthetically pleasing.
Ronaldo's receiver is the perfect. It's the perfect bicycle kick. But I just think the Zidane goal, like the way it hung in the air, Balak is looking at him. It's just like it's like art in motion.
There's more chance I believe there's more chance in somebody scoring an overhead kick than a ball dropping from 30 yards in the sky and you volleying it across your body to the near post on your weaker foot.
But
I just think
and
that's
it's like how long the
difficulty.
ball hung in
This
the
is
air.
what I'm
Like,
saying. Like,
Bale, it
you
was
know
like
what? It's like a ballerina.
yeah, no, but that's what it is. Bale, I don't want to say it's like a fluke goal.
No, it's
right?
reactionary.
But even as fans, no one saw it coming.
No.
Like it was just like Marcelo sends the ball, and then Bale out of nowhere just
Yeah,
comes out of
it's-
nowhere to
but
it's
it's a reactionary moment. You know what I mean? Overhead kicks are
But
reactionary.
Zidane, it's like it's hanging in the air.
Yeah.
You're seeing Zidane like line up
Position
for
it.
and it's like to
Oh.
strike it that effort. Like it's like that's just Zidane right
with
there,
your
man.
weaker.
Yeah.
Like it's funny. People need to go and look at Zidane's greatest goals.
50%
I will
of our
tell
left
you,
footed.
90% of them.
You say
90%.
90.
90% of his best ever goals are his left foot.
Yeah, he had no weak foot.
Bro, it's crazy. But anyway, that's a great moment. Bale was a great moment. But I think the moment, and again, I celebrated this one, by the way. Sergio Ramos stepped forward. 13-14, La Decima. You know, La Decima was that term was like a mythical thing for a while. Like La Decima. Remember how long they were taking to chase that?
It took them
Decima.
over 10 years.
There
It took
we
them
go.
over a decade to win
It was
it.
2002 was their last one.
It took them over a decade to win it.
There we go,
2013,
12
14.
years, yeah. So it was La Decima, La Decima.
And that was like
La
what they were all
Decima.
chasing. When Ronaldo came, it's like, I'm here
Yep.
to deliver La Decima. When Bale came, I'm here to deliver La Decima.
La Decima, La Decima, La Decima.
Tenth,
That might have been the first Spanish word I learned.
La
La Decima.
Decima.
Because I heard it so much. I was like, let me Google this. Oh, it means 10. Okay.
Yeah.
But they were like chasing that so much. And for it to come against 13-14 Atletico Madrid.
Good
By the
team.
way, if you want to talk about football equivalents, they're the Detroit Bad Boy Pistons.
Yeah,
bruh.
yeah.
They were, listen, you ain't seen defenders like that, but you ain't seen a
Yeah.
defensive unit like the 13-14 Diego Simeone.
They were even like the
Atletico
04
Madrid.
Pistons, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 04, whatever it, Pistons in general.
Who's saying Gabby was Chauncey Billups?
Them boys were dogs.
Yeah.
They were dogs. Like, they will fight you. They could also play you out.
Outplay you, bro.
They'll hit you on the long
They
balls,
schooled Chelsea that year,
set
man.
pieces. No matter what it is, they used to find a way to win. And people may forget, they won the league that year. In a year with Barcelona were at it, Real Madrid were at it. Atletico won the league on the final day that year, going to the Camp Nou with it again and sound, excellent defensive display. Alexis Sanchez scored, I believe it was.
Godin.
And then Godin scored from the corner.
I loved Godin.
Yeah, they're just warrior spirits. They went out there, they won the La Liga. They get into the final, they go 1-0 up, right? And you're thinking 1-0 to Atletico Madrid, it's pretty much good night. Pack your bags. It's like it used to be like when Jose used to go 1-0 up. Pack your bags, good night. And then Real Madrid were trying and trying, but even as much as they were trying, it didn't really feel that valiant. It felt like, you're not doing enough. You felt like they had to go gung ho.
Madrid have even spoken about it. I think it was Ronaldo who was saying it. Like he was saying, I saw Di Maria basically on his knees. Like you saw heads kind of sinking. Madrid almost like, we always talk about Madrid, they have this never say die mentality. But I almost feel like that never say die mentality spawned from that day.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those guys, they probably wouldn't admit it, but they looked defeated.
And then step forward, Sergio Ramos, man, in that moment, like, again, we're talking about the Drogba
It was a lifeline.
moment.
Honestly, it was a lifeline, bro.
You're talking about the Drogba. You're talking about Istanbul. You're talking about Oli 99, Sheringham 99. This is right up there with them against your local rivals in the Champions League final. The meanest defense you'll ever see. Sergio Ramos from a corner, absolute sucker punch. As soon as he scored that, ran off. It just felt like you just said that the Di Maria was on his knees finished.
I was gonna say,
let's do Uno reverse card.
Christian Rodriguez on the bench.
Bro,
Christian Rodriguez on the bench was literally they knew. He knew in that moment.
I haven't seen a single moment of like demoralization than that Sergio Ramos scored. That finished them.
Yeah.
They lost 4-1 in the end.
Yeah,
Can you believe
but
it?
everyone knew it was coming. Honestly, the minute Ramos scored, it was like, okay, if you're an Atletico fan, just hope you can get the penalty.
Yeah.
Because then Ronaldo was revitalized. Like Bale was Di Maria. That guy, they added a battery in his back. But I'm telling you, that moment when I saw Christian Rodriguez on the bench, because they kept panning it over to him throughout the last 10 minutes, and he was like pacing around, like this. He was sitting next to Simeone's assistant, who has the Google glasses or whatever. He was just praying. And then when that Ramos goal went in, you literally saw him on the bench, game over. But I want to say about that, obviously, you're going to go on Bale, Di Maria, Marcelo, Ronaldo getting that last one, celebrating like he scored the winner, by the way. Shameless guy. But I genuinely sometimes think about that final, right? What if Diego Costa was fit to play the whole game? Because let's not forget, he was a late fitness test.
Yep.
They risked it with him. They actually wasted the substitution on it.
Yeah.
And that was another thing too, right? If they had never started him, because this was the days where it was 3 substitutions.
Yeah.
They wasted one of them on that, and then they were gassed in extra time.
They should have brought him on. I don't ever agree with that. They started him. They should
he
never
came
have
off
started
for like,
him.
10 minutes, and they brought on Adrian to go sit up front with David Villa.
That would have been. They should never.
I always
have started
wonder
him.
either if they hadn't started him or if he had just been fit, man.
Yeah.
Because Costa that year might have been the most feared striker in Europe, bro. It was crazy.
What a moment, man. Sergio Ramos, and to go on to be what he became. Yeah, I mean, that felt like, listen, we knew what Ramos was, but that was like the birth of this clutch GOAT that it felt like. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, he scored in the rounds before as well, against Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
But it was that Champions League was the birth of this
That's when I started regarding Ramos as like an elite center back.
Yeah,
he also on the right back. He's moving into center back.
The trim is when he got the trim, man.
Yeah,
when he
facts,
got the trim.
Facts. But you know what it is about that final too? I've spoken to Faisal about this, and I've spoken to some Real Madrid fans. A lot of people are of the opinion that if Real Madrid hadn't won that Champions League, that group might have been broken up. Like, there were already rumors that Ronaldo was thinking about leaving Real Madrid. Like, there were serious rumors that whole Galactico project, a few of them would have dipped.
Because I swear, Ferguson said that in 12-13, he was talking to Ronaldo to bring him back. Yeah. And Ronaldo was like kind of receptive of it as well.
No, I think if Real Madrid hadn't won the Champions League final, it's not out of the realms of possibility that Cristiano Ronaldo might have left. So to go on to see what that group of players, because it was mostly the same core. Obviously Navas came in, Kroos came in, but it was mostly the same core. To see what they went on to achieve in the next 4 or 5 years, I don't think it happens without that Ramos header.
Mental, man.
Speaking on, okay, so we spoke about one of the finalists, like their kind of greatest moments. I agree that Ramos moment is the one that sticks out for me. Let's talk about Dortmund though, right? Because this is obviously the second Champions League final. They're playing at Wembley, funnily enough. Yeah. Let's go flashback to 2012-13. And obviously, like, this isn't the final, but the semi-final performance by Lewandowski at the Signal Iduna Park, the 4 goals to send them against their big rivals in Bayern. I always think about, like, those effects, like what could have been and what happened. That Robin miss, he was the villain in 2012. But the next year to do it at Wembley and the dying moments against that Dortmund team, that was kind of like, okay, you're kind of like, not the savior, but like, you're excused. Yeah. And the way Robin celebrated at the end. So that one I always remember. And then I always remember Mario Gotze in the crowd, knowing he was going to join Bayern Munich the next season. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Man.
That was one of the worst sporting acts I've ever seen in my life. From that moment, I swear, I just never vibed with Gotze from there ever. And he scored the World Cup final goal, whatever, but I'm telling you, it was like the football gods couldn't let him succeed anymore after that, because that for me is that's nasty. You don't rate it, bro. I know you're fit to play, bro. I know you're fit.
What,
to
you
play,
think
bro.
he ducked?
I think he ducked, bro. I think he ducked. You know you're going to buy me. I think he ducked, bro. I think Gotze could have played that game. He ducked that final, because imagine if he goes and packs Bayern and they score and they win. I think he ducked it, bro. And he joins
That's
them.
a big accusation.
What is he? Wait, hold on, yeah. You're going to your rivals. Injured. You're going to your rivals, yeah. It's already been pre-announced that you're going to the rivals. You got them Champions League final. How are your teammates going to be looking at you? I promise you, yeah. If I'm Lewandowski, okay, he ended up jumping ship eventually as well. But if I'm any of them players and we're all like siding and this Gotze guy comes down from the top in his suit, sorry boys, I'm telling him to get the hell out of my changing room. Get the hell out of my changing room, bro. Go into the other changing room, bro. I would have had a fist fight with him or something, bro. Nah, for me.
And he was like the domino effect, right? He was the first one to go.
Yeah,
next season was Lewandowski.
Then Hummels.
We saw Pierre, bro. It was slimy.
Like, what was Gotze's injury going into that final?
I have no idea.
What was his injury? I need to look into it.
Second leg high, bro.
They're a good 4 weeks before the second leg in the final, bro.
What did I say about Haaland? If you want it bad enough, do what Diego Costa did.
Thank you. Don't do a Diego Costa, bro. I'm not having that Gotze, man. I'm not having it. And it never sat well with me,
It's not even like
bro.
he had a summer tournament or anything.
No.
Either, bro. Yeah,
it never sat well with me, man. That moment, man. I turned on him severely. To be fair, I've never really been a Gotze fan.
Yeah.
Even as a wonder kid, I was never really
He was
high
cool
on
as a
him.
wonder kid, but I can't lie.
wasn't
I
really high
always
on
liked
him.
other guys more, to
Yeah,
be honest with you.
but nasty.
And now we see it a few years later. Royce and Hummels have the chance to avenge it.
Wow. I don't think Royce is even going to get... Do you think he's going to get on the pitch?
I think he'll get the last 10-15 minutes. Especially
Yeah.
if they're chasing the game, they'll throw
True.
him on. Yeah.
Hummels, man. Well, he's throwing it back this season, man. What season that he's having
Facts.
in Champions League, at least. Anyway, he's been phenomenal, bro. I think
Mm.
it was man of the match home and
They
away.
still didn't call him up for Germany.
Still didn't get called. Crazy, especially
nuts.
just the way he's passing the ball out
Yeah.
as well, and he's
To be
driving.
fair, they got good center backs. Schlotterbeck, Rudiger. I mean, they got a good
True.
group of guys, but
They took Tar as well, innit?
Yeah.
Tar. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know, man. I don't know. This final, I've still got Real Madrid winning, unfortunately, for Dortmund. But
I was gonna say,
I
weirder
know
things have happened.
Sometimes
it's a
Real
final,
Madrid
bro.
have to lose a final, man.
Yeah, eventually.
Jesus.
Yeah.
18 finals they've been to. They've
And
won
eventually,
14.
Royce gotta win one of these eventually, bro.
But if they were there, do you think they would let him lift it at the end?
Who, Royce?
Royce, do you think he'll be the one to lift it?
Oh, because he's not officially the team
Yeah.
captain, right? Who's the official
He
team
handed
captain?
over captaincy,
Yeah,
remember?
but who is the official team captain of Borussia Dortmund these days?
Brandt?
Is it? Huh?
Brandt?
Who's the official team captain? Now, let me think about who's on the team. It's not Berkey. Surely it's not Berkey. The way he's saying it, it's like, is it Hummels?
Is it Brandt?
Who's the team captain of Borussia Dortmund? Is it Emre Can? It's Emre Can. That's who it is.
Can.
Yeah. Not Can. Hey, hand that shit over.
Hand
bro.
that shit
hand
over,
that shit
bro.
over, man.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody trying to see Emre Can lift that Champions League.
Let him
Royce.
Yeah, Royce has got to lift. That'll be a...
Yeah.
If the whole FIFA
Imagine
generation...
that's a beautiful way of going out.
The whole
Yeah,
FIFA
yeah.
generation of kids
Yeah.
seeing Marco Royce lift the Champions League. Yeah, I might go put FIFA 13 on and play it, bro. Just one time for the old...
Yeah.
One more time for the old times, you know what I'm
were
saying?
special,
For the
man.
old days, bro.
You were special. But nah, I'm with you, to be honest with you, man. Real Madrid, I can't see any other solution than that. I just think Champions League finals is too good. I mean, I think we've covered it all, to be honest with you. Those are the big ones. Like, there's been some good ones, right? Bayern, Inter was good. Like, there's been some good Champions League final moments, but I think those are the ones that, like, for me, when I think about finals, they stick out to me more than most. So,
Agree.
guys, what'd you say?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, guys, that's gonna do it. This has kind of been like our Champions League final greatest moments. Let us know in the comments if we missed any other big ones. I'm sure we did. But,
There's
there's loads,
Diego
man. There's one every single year. We can't talk about every single one of them.
in the final.
Yeah. I always thought though, Barca was like the big one. That was like the final. Barca.
Zanetti's
versus Inter.
tears were nice to see.
Yeah, I think all of them were nice. Like, it was all like
Yeah.
their last dance and stuff. But I think those are the big ones to really, really talk about. Let us know though, of course, if we missed out on any. As usual, shout out to BR for powering this podcast. All our clips are going out on all of their social platforms. So make sure you keep an eye out for those. As always, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you soon. Peace.